Hi guys, it's Ted. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. Ukraine's drone war just hit another nerve, this time in Russia's Rostov region. In Salsk, a key railway hub went up in flames after precision strikes slammed into a resource depot near the train station. This isn't just a random hit, this is a direct blow to Russian supply lines feeding Russian war machine in Donetsk, Zaporozhye and Crimea. The message is clear: if it rolls on rails, it burns.
In the early hours of July 29th, strike drones targeted a fuel train at a major railway junction in the city of Salsk, Rostov region. Local residents reported a large fire breaking out at the site. The drone attack was later confirmed by the regional governor, according to Astra. He stated that the strike allegedly hit 2 fuel tankers and a locomotive during the attack on the freight train. Eyewitnesses observed the drones flying overhead and saw Russian troops attempting to shoot them down with small arms fire. Russian railways later reported that train traffic through the Salsk railway station had been suspended. They added that a freight train caught fire following the drone attack. Today, at 2:00 a.m., the operation of the overhead contact system at Salsk station in the Rostov region was disrupted due to falling drone debris. According to preliminary reports, there were no casualties. A fire also broke out in a stationary freight train. Train traffic through the station has been suspended, the Russian railway authorities stated. At least 9 passenger trains are currently known to be delayed. Meanwhile, the Ukraine Context Telegram channel published a photo showing a railway platform with a burning truck, likely a military vehicle.
Пизда. А как они его уберут?
Короче, все, это... Смотрите. Все, короче, это пипец. Это полный
Special forces of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine conducted a successful raid on the Tendrska spit. This was reported by the DIU press service. The servicemen of the DIU's Active Operations Department conducted a combat operation in the northern part of the Black Sea. On the night of July 28th, the reconnaissance units landed on Tendrska spit and destroyed the position of the Russian invaders along with its personnel. Along with the enemy infantry, the Zont electronic warfare system and the Rosa radar station were destroyed. A Ukrainian flag was hoisted over the island. The operation went off without any losses on the Ukrainian side. The spit, which belongs to the temporarily occupied Kherson region, is located about 30 kilometers from the coast of Mykolaiv region. Covering such a distance by sea, in an area where the enemy has an advantage in both naval and air assets, is a task that requires a high level of coordination and careful planning of the operation. The same operation of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine was reported earlier in August 2024. Earlier, on July 4th, the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine reported the destruction of 3 UAV operators from the Bar Sarmat unit of the Russian occupation army. The Russians were eliminated on the outskirts of the temporarily occupied village of Strelkove, Kherson region. They were in a Chevrolet Avio car that exploded. All 3, including the group leader, were killed. The Bar Sarmat unit is part of the Russian Special Purpose Center for Unmanned Systems. It is commanded by the former head of Roscosmos, Dmitry Rogozin. The destroyed group belonged to the Bars 1 unit, stationed in occupied Henichesk. Hundreds of thousands of Russian school children are enrolled in drone programs connected to the Ministry of Defense. The Beloga program has children design drones, control them with special games and simulators, and even write drone software. In one game, school children control quadcopters to deliver cargo. In another, they are smart bears that fight waves of bees. The goal is to graduate 800,000 children into assembling and flying real drones. The next stage for high schoolers is the Intensive Archipelago program, in which they learn to fly military-grade drones. The training is provided by an organization that also trains operators for the war in Ukraine. Soldiers of the 425th Skala Separate Assault Regiment conducted assault operations near the village of Milov in the Kharkiv region. The regiment's press service released footage of enemy forces being destroyed in the area. To ensure effective targeting of the enemy, infantry units conducting area clearance were actively supported by FPV drones. Drone operators recorded approximately 10 eliminated invaders who had no idea they were being hunted. Meanwhile, infantry units conducted clearing operations from the northern side of the occupied settlement of Milov. It is worth noting that the Ukrainian Defense Forces are currently engaged in active combat operations in this area. As a result of these actions, the commander of Russia's 83rd Motorized Rifle Regiment was eliminated on the Velikoburluk axis. The neutralized officer was identified as Colonel Lebedev, who had been commanding assault operations in this sector. The 83rd Regiment is part of the 69th Motor Rifle Division of the Russian Ground Forces. Russian sources have released footage of another Iscanda missile strike with a cluster warhead targeting a Ukrainian training ground in Chernihiv region. Recon drone video shows no personnel in the open, suggesting Ukrainian troops likely took shelter before impact. Commander Syrsky recently forbade Ukrainian troops from gathering in large groups. The Russian Iskander missile is a short-range ballistic system designed for high-precision strikes. It can carry conventional or nuclear warheads and hits targets up to 500 kilometers away. Traveling at hypersonic speeds, it's extremely hard to intercept. Russia uses it to threaten NATO borders and hammer deep into Ukraine, often targeting infrastructure or command posts. President Trump: I used to talk to Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But you know what? He's had a hard time. Yes, he's had a hard time. This was supposed to be a 3-day war.
So Putin, it's too bad. I used to talk to him about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But you know what? He's had a hard time.
Yes.
He's had a hard time. This has not been, it was supposed to be a 3-day war, and now you're going
It's brutal.
past 3 years. I really thought we had it settled 3 or 4 times. It would be easy to settle, and it's going to be a long time.
A massive 8.8 earthquake by Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. There are injured, damaged buildings, and a 4-meter tsunami. Hawaii and Japan issued evacuation orders. One of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded struck off Russia's sparsely populated Far East early Wednesday, sending tsunami waves into Japan, Hawaii, and the US West Coast. Several people were injured, but none gravely, and no major damage has been reported so far. Authorities warned the risk from the 8.8 magnitude quake could last for hours, and millions of people potentially in the path of the waves were initially told to move away from the shore or seek high ground. Mexican cartels send their members to Ukraine under false documents to learn how to pilot drones. This is stated in an article by the French publication Intelligence Online. In their article, the journalists refer to an alleged recent warning from Mexico's National Intelligence Center to the Security Service of Ukraine. The information refers to the presence of Mexican volunteers who are suspected of joining foreign volunteer units not for ideological reasons, but to gain advanced knowledge in the use of drones, in particular FPV drones of first-person view. At the request of the Mexican Intelligence Service, the SSU launched an investigation with the participation of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine into several Spanish-speaking individuals who joined foreign volunteer units in Ukraine. An article from Intelligence Online claims that some Mexicans and Colombians who arrived in Ukraine showed an unhealthy interest in piloting drones, ignoring any other training. Among them is a person under the pseudonym Aguila 7, the name given by the SSU to a Mexican volunteer registered in March 2024 under a false Salvadoran identity. Posing as a humanitarian, he joined a foreign volunteer unit and later completed a full training course in Lviv. The Ukrainian instructors noted his high qualifications, mastery of analog transmitters, ability to identify blind spots for a thermal imager, etc. Further investigation revealed that he had served in the Mexican Special Forces Unit GAF, an elite unit trained in guerrilla tactics, counterinsurgency operations, and the use of modern weapons, including drones. Some former GAF fighters later joined the extremely violent Los Zetas cartel, founded by deserters from the same unit. According to a European security source involved in identity checks at the Slovak border, at least 3 former fighters also passed through international units using Panamanian and Venezuelan documents. Some of these individuals are believed to have passed through private military companies acting as fronts. In Mexico, local cartels are already attacking each other with drone strikes.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.